Hi everybody, welcome to week 15. So, only 2 weeks left of our time together, and we have now reached competency 8, function within the education environment. You did address this in the portfolios, but now we can kind of dig into this one just a little bit further in the main forum. I find that when we look at this competency that there are two areas that sometimes newer educators don't always think about. That tends to be politics and networking. So let's start with networking. I mentioned this a little bit previously when we were talking about searching out like continuing education offerings and things like that, kind of reaching out to other people. But networking certainly is also good for sharing ideas, not reinventing the wheel, and sometimes just talking to someone else who's doing the same position you are. Sometimes it's hard for other people to relate when they're not in education. So sometimes it's just nice to talk to other people who know what you're experiencing. So I want you to encourage when you're networking to look both inside and outside of your organization. Some of you might be working for small organizations. Maybe you're the only one of this particular type of educator within your organization. Or some of you may work for multi-large, either colleges with lots of campuses or hospitals with many campuses in different geographic areas. But I would encourage you to reach out to those people inside your organization. And maybe if there are several people within your town that hold this position or your city, that maybe you reach out to them also. It doesn't even have to be anything formal. It can just be knowing some resources. And then online is actually another way to connect with folks. An example would be joining a Facebook page that has to do with your position. I recently started looking for an online group about online instruction. So I've joined one, and I'm not sure how it's going to go so far. But I'm still looking, and I'm hopeful. So we'll see how that goes. All right. It's amazing, really, how many work-related groups are out there on Facebook or other areas. So just a thought. On to politics. So some of you shared some legislative issues that you were interested in. We were talking a little bit about staffing ratios and different things like that. So most state nursing associations have a legislative committee that committee writes updates for the either the state nursing newspaper, newsletter, or website, something like that. So looking at those is a real nice way to keep up on current legislative issues within your area, to identify topics that you might be more interested in. Maybe you'd want to attend a hearing, something like that. So just a thought that way. It's also helpful to identify who your legislators are and to follow them. And of course, one of the ways you can follow them is on Facebook. If you want to do that, you can also maybe attend a town hall meeting that they hold or some other forum like that. Hopefully, you'll have a little bit more time after graduation and can maybe look at some of these options as possibilities to kind of stay up to date in different non-clinical areas. So just a thought. All right, now I know many of you are trying to look at the last assignments. What do I need to do to wrap up the course? How am I going to get this all together kind of thing? This week is really easy. You are just evaluating your preceptor, okay? And so you are just providing some feedback basically to the university, especially to the Office of Field Experiences that works with all the different preceptors. And this is totally up to you whether you want to share that form or that information with your preceptor or not. They're not required to sign the form. If you don't want to share it with them, you just upload it in the assignment area and that's it. But it's up to you. It's up to you. If you think they did a really nice job and would like that, then certainly feel free to share it with them. So let's look at the final week of the course now. So there are 4 assignments that, I can't bend my thumb. So there's 4 assignments that are due for the last week that have to be turned in by the last day of the course. So first, your final evaluation from your preceptor. Some of you had to really go through a lot of effort to get that midterm evaluation. So if you haven't started talking about it now, make sure that you really try to stress with them the deadline and that it has to be in by the end of the course. So if at all possible, you and your preceptor can just type in your signatures in the Word document and just upload the Word document to the assignment area. The way that I double check that is when your preceptor emails me their copy of the evaluation form. But, so that way I can just open it, I can sign it electronically, and then save it within the course. But if your preceptor just really doesn't feel comfortable with that, and he or she wants to actually do the ink signatures, go ahead and do that, scan it into a PDF and upload that, and I print it off, sign it, scan it, and upload it again. So we'll work it out either way. But if Word is an option, if the Word document's an option, that would be great. All right. The second assignment is evaluation of your overall practicum goals, right? So I want you to refer back to the final goals or practicum goals that were approved, because some of you had a few revisions, so make sure you've got those final ones that were approved. And at the very end, at the very bottom of that NEPD form is a section called Evaluation of Overall Practicum Goal. Okay, so in this last block, what I need you to do is list out each goal. So actually type out the goal, tell me if you met it or not, and provide me with concrete information about how you met each one. They were all SMART goals, so it will say how it should be measured. So tell me specifically about that method of measurement. Doesn't need to be anything fancy, but if you say that you met a goal, I need to understand why. And also, if for some reason you say that you didn't meet a goal, I also need to understand that. Okay? Please let me know if you have any questions about that. The third assignment is your last NEPD submission, okay? If you had already completed your practicum hours, you'll need to wait till I give you back the NEPD that you just uploaded, and it'll have a final question for you to answer in the student comments section. If you're just in these 2 weeks finishing up your hours, then just fill it out as usual. So either way, you'll be completing the last topic section. And then the last assignment is to take a screenshot or 2 of your completed Typhon practicum hours spreadsheet and upload that to the assignment area. So in Typhon, you have to show the 150 hours. Your preceptor has to have signed off on all the hours. If you don't know how to take a screenshot with your computer, please just Google it. It's a little different between a PC and a Mac. And then if it's a large area, take 2 screenshots, no big deal. Remember, when you're uploading multiple things, you need to upload both of them before you hit that final submit button. And I think that's about it. So the hardest part, I think, is over. We're coming into that final stretch, getting your last hours wrapped up, getting your last paperwork wrapped up, and you should start to be feeling a little bit of relief at this point. All right, guys, I look forward to more discussion with you in the main forum.